everyone, and welcome once again to another session of Faith Life with your host, Acribba. I'm so excited to be in your company once again, and I'm so excited to have you here with me. Hey, we're going to be chilling out tonight. It's a relaxing time. Oh, yes. But what I'm so excited about is my guest tonight. It's so amazing that I met Kerel, I think about a year and some ago, and she was supposed to come on Faith Talk. But you know what? The Lord's timing is perfect. She's appearing now on Faith Life, which her life is based on faith. Everything about Kerel is a faith walk. Everything. I mean, I don't know if you are a member of her podcast or you follow her on her Instagram page. I mean, just living a faith life. And so I'm so happy to have her with me tonight as she gives us the royal access into her life. So feast your eyes on the screen as we welcome Kerel Pinder.
Hi, I'm Kerel Pinder, and I am an author, a playwright, an international speaker, and an entrepreneur. But my favorite title is being a daughter of Christ. However, before I held any of these titles, I spent 8.5 years in a very secure government job that bored me to no end because it was the perfect family job. However, in 2014, there was still no family, so I took a leap of faith and decided to chase my passion. I left my job for a fancy corporate position that fulfilled all of my professional dreams. I was in complete bliss up until the fumigation. That's right, you heard me. 90% of my colleagues and I were all let go under the guise that the company was about to go through a fumigation. Less than a year after leaving my safe and secure job, I was staring at the empty barrel of unemployment. I prayed long and hard about what to do next, and I finally felt a peace to begin my creative journey by writing my first book. And as they say, the rest is history. I'm a 35-year-old single woman peacefully waiting on the king God has chosen for me and the children he wants to birth through that union. I cannot wait to sit down and talk with Acribba on faith and royalty to share more of my story with you.
Let's welcome Kerel Pinder.
Hello. Hey,
Hi. Welcome to Faith Life. Can you see me clearly?
it's going in and out. Can you see me clearly?
Can you see me clearly, Kerel?
I can see you. It's not super clear, but I can see and hear you.
Hey.
I think
Oh,
I'm
now it's
delayed.
your okay. All right.
Come on.
Well, welcome Good. All right. Apologies. Welcome back. Okay, Kerel. So, welcome once again to Faith Life. I'm so happy to have you here. And I'm happy that you're about to give us the royal access into the life of Kerel Pinder.
Thank
All the
you.
way from Freeport.
Yes, we
Yes.
are
So, I got to welcome my Freeport people too in the building, of course. I know that you all are on lockdown starting tonight.
tonight. Tonight is the first night of lockdown. 7:00. We out.
That's it. Lights out. Wow. But, all for the best. Prayers for Freeport. Healing to our land. Prayers for the islands of the Bahamas and even the world at large. We're going to get through this. God is going to get us through this. Yeah. So, Kerel, I had the opportunity to go into your podcast. And just like every girl, we want that life to be married at a certain age and to have that. You had it all rolled out. And you talked about it all in that podcast. So you know what? I'm not going to waste any time. I want to dive right into it. From the dream of being married at 21 to having the job that you wanted. I mean, the perfect job, the car, the condo, moving back home to your parents. I mean, I want you to give us all of that to where you are today.
Okay, so like you said, like a lot of girls, young girls, when I was younger, I said that I wanted to be married at 21. My mom got married at 21. And so you're thinking like, well, it happened for them, so it's going to happen for me. And so that's just how I kind of lived my life. And then I was in a serious relationship in high school. So I'm thinking, okay, that's the one that's going to lead to marriage. Both of us are talking about the fact that we're both going to get married. So it's going to be great. So I go off to college. And everybody's telling me, when you go to college, because I went to school in Canada, he stayed in Nassau, he went to UB in Nassau. And so everybody's like, no, you need to break up if you go to college. You need to. And I'm like, nope, not breaking up. We're going to stay together. It's going to last. And he was in Nassau, just all about the place, Kiki, just all over the place. All about. But everybody. And so
they tell you to leave. They tell you to cut it off, Kerel.
But he voiced of it in the first year when people telling me that he's all over the place. I'm like, no, y'all don't know what you're talking about. I'm defending it. Because there's this goal and vision in my mind that I'm getting married at 21. And so they don't know what they're talking about. I'm staying on the path. So about after 2 years, two years into university, we decided to call it quits. And I finished university and don't know exactly, was in my 4th year of university. I was thinking I was going to do my master's. So my dream career growing up was to be a doctor in psychology. So it was get your bachelor's, get your master's, go to PhD. But I wasn't really focused in my 1st and 2nd years of college. So when I went to I was going into my 4th year. And so I said, okay, in your last year, that's when you apply to go do your master's, to go on to do your PhD. So apparently when I went, I said, I'm coming to apply to go to do my master's. And they're looking at me like, everybody who's on that track, who has that kind of mindset, they come from the 1st year, because there's certain classes they need to take. There's certain organizations they need to be a part of. And you're about to be in your 4th year. So miss, it's not happening for you.
Right.
Well, okay then. So I knew that after that 4th year, that it meant that, okay, well then I'm going to have to just go back home. So when I went back home, I had a bachelor's degree in psychology. So most of those degrees, you could probably be a guidance counselor. So my mom, she worked with the government at the time, and she said, well, they require a master's in counseling, but they're in need of guidance counselors. So they'll probably take somebody with a bachelor's in psychology. And so I said, okay, I'll go there. After a while, I think by that time I was 21, the age to be married. I was not dating, but at the time I felt like, okay, let me stay in this job because it's a good family job. And I'm 21. And I'm now about to build this family. So maybe I won't have a PhD. Maybe I'll just have the bachelor's. I'll work at the school, be a nice guidance counselor, have my husband and my 3 children and my dog and white picket fence, and life is going to be beautiful. Right. It's all going to go as planned, and life is going to be beautiful. So I end up in a relationship when I'm 21, and I'm like, this is it. They're talking marriage. It seems like it's going somewhere, really concrete, but he had just gotten out of a relationship. And so about 6 months into it, he was done. He was over it. I think he just was over it. But I think I was a rebound. When they're trying to build up their self-esteem, he was in a relationship.
Tell me about rebounds, Kerel. They are not healthy.
I was the rebound. I didn't know. I thought I was in love, and this was like, I'm 21. He came at 21. So here we go. Life is perfect. But no, I was a rebound.
Yes.
6 months in and he was out. And I said, oh my gosh. And so at that point, I'm like, I'm still 21 because it didn't, obviously it was only 6 months. So the 21 dream doesn't look like it's coming to fruition. And at that time, that's when I started to do beauty pageants. So I did Miss Grand Bahama for the first time around that time. And then after that, I got into a relationship that lasted for about 4 to 5 years. And so I'm like, I met that person at 22. I'm like, okay. So if high school was in the husband and the one who come at 21 was in the husband.
That's him now. That's him now.
That's him. I get what you say. Use him.
That's him. Yes.
That's him. You are the third person. I'm 22. I'm done past remember the goal was 21. We already passed the goal. Yes. 22. So I was somebody who was very adamant during the relationship, like, wear the ring, it's been a year. 2 years, wear the ring, it's been 2. 3 years, wear the ring, it's been 3 years. I was very antsy for this ring. So the most people, the people who are around our age, at that time, people are getting married like 25, 27. But for me, I wanted to be married at 21. So I feel like I am way, way behind in my mind. But I think in his mind, he was still in university. He was completing a degree. And so in his mind, it was not anytime soon. Also, we talked a little bit about it earlier in terms of the timing of when God says you are ready to be married. And I think at that time, I just knew that, yes, girl, I was like, he reached. At that time, I just knew that I wanted to be in a relationship, but I really didn't know what it meant to be a wife. I didn't know what it meant to be a kingdom wife. I didn't know how to, to be able to be in a marriage and really have it successful, or be in a marriage that really glorified God. I just wanted to be a wife. I don't know anything about any of these things. I just want the ring because that's what you're supposed to do at 21. I just want the ring. And so I think that there were qualities that I displayed that allowed him to be a little standoffish and not be sure that he wanted to be with me. I also think that he was at a different place in his life. And in a relationship, I think if you don't do something wrong, sometimes people, they stay in it, but they don't really feel like this is it. But you didn't do anything wrong, so I can't leave.
Right.
So I began to get frustrated with the relationship. It was a very long distance relationship. I was back in the Bahamas at this time. During this 4-year relationship, I went to do a master's in school counseling. Like I said, I didn't really love the job. So I said, maybe if I get more paper, spend more money, maybe I'll love it. No, that don't work. That is right. That's just a waste of money. Just more money. But I thought that would work. So I went and then I think I was trying to keep myself busy because he was taking long with this ring. So it was like, you know what? Let me
yeah, so do something anyhow. Right.
Okay, then do the pageants. Okay, you still ain't give me the ring yet? Okay. Then we go get 1 degree.
Yes.
You still ain't give me the ring. So I did the degree, still don't have it yet. Still don't have this ring yet. And so I think I began to get anxious. And I began to hang out with somebody that was a close friend. And I ended up making out with that close friend. And I was hiding it. And I was somebody those, the Lord has delivered me. So don't judge me, Kiki. The Lord has delivered me. But
God, He's delivered all of us. We still being delivered.
Okay. Still going through the process of sanctification every day. But in that time, I was somebody who would like check your phone. I'm always trying to look at your phone. Who's calling you? I want to look at the phone. And at this point, I now am hiding my phone because I know that I have done something that isn't really aligned with the relationship. So there was a day that I missed and left my phone in the car. And I went to the cleaners. And when I came back, he was as if he was looking in my phone. Well, I did act a fool in that car that day. What's going on with the phone? Why you? And I'm doing all of that. Right. And so it's like, you hiding something because you're the kind of person who always want to look in my phone and you're always free with your phone. So all of a sudden you're secretive with the phone. Now when I pretend, because I didn't know he was pretending, but he was pretending to look at my phone. But now that I pretend to look in your phone, there's a whole lot going on here.
You give yourself away.
You get catch. You get catch. You get catch.
You get catch, Kerel. You get catch.
Listen, the people, my friends tell me, cheating ain't for you. You don't know how to do it.
Yes, that's right. No.
You leave
no, absolutely not.
You leave that alone. You don't mess with that. You don't know how to do it.
Right.
You don't know how to have a serious face. You don't know how to play it off. Just stay away from that. You don't know about this life. Don't do it. So I freak out. So he just tells me, like, I know that you have done something that you shouldn't have done. I know you've done something that you shouldn't have done. So therefore, when you're ready to tell me, you tell me. So I told him, and for me, I think he think that I actually slept with the person. And even though as much as you try to say, no, it wasn't that deep, it's like, you're an adult, they're an adult, I don't really believe you. I also, like I said, I firmly believe that he was not sure about the relationship, as in, I think this is what God has to do. And so I think once something went wrong, it was like, aha, I knew that this was not it. And now I have evidence that this is not it. And so we ended the relationship. I would love to say that it was that day that we ended it and I moved on with my life and I just spent time with Jesus. No, it was a year and a half of, I don't know what it was. It was hanging on and him not being able to say, for real, it's done. And so it's a year and a half of, are we going to be together? Are we officially together? Are we going to get married? It was just a waste of time, a year and a half of a waste of both of our lives of being able to move on. And so, you know, family and friends would tell me after a while, let this go. Like, let it go. But I think I'm thinking at that time when they're saying let this go, that I think by that time I was like 26 or 27. Wow. He want to start over 26 or 27 is what I'm thinking at that time. I'm like, do I want to enter another relationship at 26 or 27?
But you know, Kerel, not to stop you, most women think like that. Like, I know people who have held on to relationships for years. There's no form of commitment. There's no ring. There's nothing to say, to show for. Nothing. Like, we just invest in time. And time is time. Look, when you give time, Kerel, you don't get it back. Like, you don't get it back. But a lot of people, they're afraid to start over. Like, they are afraid to say, well, hey, let me just cut the chase here. But the whole line is, no, I done spend too much time. I gotta stay in this.
I gotta waste more time.
I gotta waste more time. Right, and you ain't getting nothing done. Like, nothing.
I done put 4 years, so you can put 4 more? You can put.
It's frustrating. It's a lot of people, a lot of women, especially because men, I feel that men can let go faster.
Yeah.
And they don't have an issue going on, but I think it's women. I don't know if that's a nature thing or that's something. But we don't let go easily.
But I think it's also that people have this thing in their mind that there are not a lot of good men. And so when you prescribe to the fact that there's not a lot of good men out there, then you have that mindset that, you know, it's the less mindset that I have to save what I have right now. I have a very small mindset that there's nobody out there. And so I've convinced myself that this is the best that I can do. I've convinced myself that I rather have, you know, a bird in the hand and 2 in the bush. I rather focus on this, because if I lose this, then I'm not going to have anything.
Yes.
You fear that you may end up single for a long time. And the point is that you may. But it may be something that God needs you to be in. You may need to be single for a long time. But because we want to control our lives and we want to be the person in the driver's seat, we're trying to stay on one path. Like, I'm trying to stay on the plan that I have for my life.
Right.
Instead of, and I said it in one of my podcast episodes, the last one, instead of emptying our will. Instead of emptying our will, we are so focused on what I want and not worried about what God is saying to do. And what God is saying is best for you. Slapping up. Yeah, man, I was slapping up.
Slapping up. Yes.
Slap it up forever. Yeah, slap it up forever. But yeah, instead of, you know, trusting God with our love life, we are adamant that it has to be my way. And so we spent a year and a half doing that dance of will they, won't they, will they, won't they. And then after that year and a half, one of my pastor friends, I was talking to him, I was like, I'm just so frustrated. He just got married. And so I said, you know, how did you know your wife was the one? Because, like, I'm in something for the last 4.5 years and I'm trying to hold on, but maybe this isn't it. And he said, she had everything that I was looking for. And I said, well, that's a little vague. You need to go deeper. Like, I don't know. That's just one line. I need to walk. And so he sent me to watch a series called The New Rules of Love, Sex, and Dating. And it's by Pastor Andy Stanley. And in The New Rules of Love, Sex, and Dating, it says, if you know that you have been dating not the way that God would want you to date, and you know that if you met someone who was Christ-led and who had made Christ the head of their life and they met you, would they be able to say, you're the person that I've been looking for? And so instead of trying to force relationships to happen and doing relationships on your own, you should take a year off to learn how to love yourself, learn to fall in love with God, and learn how to become the person that's worth waiting on instead of just, I gotta find somebody, I gotta be with somebody, I gotta be with somebody.
Yes.
And so I took that year off. I took the year off of dating, and it wasn't easy. People ask me all the time, like, what if you meet somebody amazing? I did, but I was on the year challenge. So I couldn't.
And that's another thing. And you know something, Kerel, I'm going to ask you about that too, because, you know, have you experienced yet? Because I realized that even when I decided that, you know, I was putting everything down, you know, God, you experience true love. You experience, God shows you what love is about. Like, he shows you, like, this is what it should be like. This is how you should be treated. Because, for you, you read that book. The book I read was Sassy, Single, and Satisfied by Michelle Hammond. Oh, my God. Like, when my husband, like, reached out to me, like, he was trying to get at me, I was like, no, I good, man. Like, I good. Like, I sassy, single, and I satisfied. Like, the only thing she left off of that was, I sexy. Like, I good.
I good.
Good. You know what I mean? I got myself in a place where I was comfortable with me because I realized that in relationships, we lose ourselves. You know, our self-esteem become rock bottom. You know, we just settle for good instead of great. And that is what I realized that I did all my life too. Like, I was just like, I had to have a man. Like, I gotta have a man. Like, I can't do without a man in my bed. You know what I mean? And so when you become single, it does get lonely. And I can tell you something, like, the men, like, they just come running when you be like, I single. Like, they come all running in. Like, fools rush in, you know? But I was at that place. And I saw that you wrote a book. Were you committed to this 1 year challenge? Because I saw that you wrote a book called The 1 Year Challenge.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because apparently that's what your whole decision was. You didn't care if they came rich, poor, big up there. You was on this 1 year challenge.
I was on the 1 year challenge. And how the book came about, like I said, it took the year off of dating. How the book came about, I was actually, so I'll tell a part of the story and then I'll tell how the book came about. So when I came out of that relationship, it didn't work. I took the year challenge. After the year challenge in 2014 was when the year challenge ended. And God had put some blessings in my life. I thought that I was going to have a relationship. I can tell you no lie. I thought I was going to have a relationship at the end of that 1 year challenge.
Right.
I'm trying to bet with God. I take the year off, give you a husband.
Now you got to give me. Right.
I give you, you give me. That's you know,
it.
You know, that's how we think our relationship with God is. I give you, you give me. We work it out. And so that's how I thought it was going to be. But in 2014, God did give me a lot of blessings. That's the first time I became a playwright. We released our play, Sarah's Wedding, that we did in Freeport and Nassau.
Yes.
And I got that new job. Like I said, I didn't love the job. And by the end of 2012, going into 2013, that relationship was cut. So I was like, okay, I don't have no family. So I'm not staying on the job no more. I'd been there for 8.5 years and ain't no family here. And I was only at this job for family. So I'm gone.
Right.
So I applied to, Bahama was the hot job for young professionals. And so I wanted to be in the mix with the, the good job. And they literally was paying me twice my salary.
Wow.
Twice. It's like, bye, Freeport.
Bye.
Wow. And so I moved into, my condo out west. And I had, it was gated. It was pool. It was 2-bedroom. I was living. So I'm thinking to myself in 2014, well, God didn't bring the husband, but he honored my faithfulness. And so I got my job. I had my condo. Life was great. And I was, working on that job up until 2015. So I wasn't there that long. It was like close into going into a year, but I loved it. I really loved my, what I was doing. I really enjoyed working for that company. And in 2015, I talked about it on the intro. The hotel was saying that it was going to open, but they were hearing rumors in the background that there were money problems, so the hotel might not open. So people were saying, boy, y'all really just drink blue Kool-Aid, boy, because all of us was like, nope, they say it's going to open. We was die hard for that company, but all the rumors, the sip was like, I had that ain't opening.
Right.
We confident. We stay in here. This is, and it was good. We really enjoyed it. And we started doing community service because the hotel had sip that it might not open. So we started not having work like we would have if it was going to open a certain time. So they sent us for community service. So the day I went for community service, we got an email saying you don't have to come back to work. They having a fumigation. Like they have to fumigate the property. So I literally took a picture on Instagram that day and posed like this. That's the look when you get off work early.
Right.
We get off work early for the fumigation. Couple hours later, then people email us, say, please do not return to Bahama until further notice.
Wow.
I done packed my whole life up. I already moved to Nassau. I left the secure government job that I was on for 8.5 years. And nobody's leave government. Because that job.
That's what I'm saying. That's shorty. Like, what were you thinking, Kerel, when that happened? What were you thinking? I mean, look, I leave safety for,
and security.
Yes.
Safety. The crazy thing about it is I had a weird piece. I had a weird, it wasn't like, oh, I should have gone back. No. And the thing is, I had times when I could have go back too. So it wasn't like I should have gone back. It was just like what to do. I just wasn't sure what to do next. And I wasn't hearing, there were people who were offering me jobs left, right, and center. Like, you want to come back to Freeport? You could work at this particular place. People in Nassau, come to my job. We having interviews. I know you was with the Bahama crew because, it was big in the newspaper. 2,000 employees let go. So everybody know you ain't got no job no more. Everybody calling you. I know you don't have no job. It's out in the paper. You don't have no job.
Right.
Oh, y'all get let go. You don't got no job.
Oh, Lord.
So everybody's calling.
Yes.
And I'm like, Lord. So I needed to stand still because it was really crazy. So I had to stand still to ask God, what do you want me to do? And I heard God say, I want you to write the book about the 1-year challenge.
Yes.
And I was like, no. Because I felt him say it like after the year challenge was finished in 2014. But for me, I was like, I want to write a book that has a happy ending. Like, I took the year off, I gave it to God, and then I get married. You want to cover like...
Right.
This how you find a man.
1 year. Because you did say that you wanted this book to end in a way that it inspired someone to take this 1 year and then...
What better way? What that sounded in my mind, we were trying to tell God how to do things. In my mind, that sounded like the best kind of book, bestseller.
Yes.
Jesus, they could give you a year and then
that's it.
Right? But over these last few years, God showed me like exactly why that couldn't happen, exactly why he didn't want me to have that story and tell it in that way, because that would have encouraged more people to get caught up in the concept that I come to God for something.
That's it. Yes.
And I only come to God so he could give me something. Not because I love him, not because I want to serve him, not because I want to be more like him, not because I want to draw more people to him, but because I want a ring. And then what happens to those ladies who take the year off and there's no husband at the end?
You're right.
Give me my money back. Give me the $14.99 and the year back.
Yes, because nothing came out of it.
Because just because that would have happened for you, that don't mean every single person who took a year off, that's going to happen for them. Absolutely. Because God has different paths for our lives. And so instead of being dependent on God and his plan for our lives, I would have forced or caused people to start to be dependent on a formula.
Yes. That's deep. That's good.
And God was saying, you ain't about that. That ain't how I'm going to use you. So you could kick, you could scream, you could be mad, but that's not how I plan to use you. And so because I know he asked me to write the book in 2014 and he came back in 2015, I say, but you done take the job that I did love. So you look like you don't play no games, Jesus. So if you say write the book,
I gonna write this book.
You look like you don't play. You done take the whole job away that I did love.
That's right.
With a good salary, you look like you don't play. So I'm going to be obedient. And how God rewarded me in that obedience, because everybody was like, so what are you going to do? And I was like, God, tell me write the book. So while everybody went looking for jobs, I just went to Starbucks every day and I wrote the book every day. And so at the end of the month, because there was this big confusion between the owners and the government, every month at the end of the month, that check was there.
Wow.
Right. Check there. Go to Starbucks all of August. At the end of August, check there. Go to Starbucks all of September. End of September, The check there. I am not going to these people's job at all, but every month I'm getting the check. Every month. And that stayed up until October. And that's when I finished writing the book.
Wow.
So essentially, God paid me to write the book.
That's right.
That full salary the same time.
Wow.
The same time. But it was like, I need you to step out on faith and trust me.
That's it.
And so it doesn't like if someone to tell me you're not going to work for 6 months, you will go to Starbucks every day and write a book and you're still going to get paid the same salary you was paying at the corporate job, I would say never. That don't
That's
even,
right.
That don't even seem like that makes sense.
That don't make sense.
But when you're obedient, that's how God works it out. It doesn't always make sense, but when it's a God thing, then God is working it out.
Yes.
And so God paid me during that time to write the book. And so what I had to realize going through this journey of learning to trust God and being faithful to God is that when God gives you an assignment, when God says that there's something to do, he will be faithful in whatever he promised you to do.
Yes, he will.
And so if God, and I think that's where people go wrong in terms of having faith. I wrote it on my Instagram about the faith with the tattoo.
The tattoo.
When I got it, I'm thinking, okay, I have all these plans in my head and I have faith that these could happen.
Yeah.
Because this is what I want to happen. God's plans are going to happen. If God promised you something, it's going to happen. If God, not if you decide in your mind that this is the plan that I want for my life and this is how if God said, and we had in the Royal Access, we also have a community on Facebook and we did a Zoom call the other day. And I said, I want to ask all of the ladies this question. A lot of us are in here talking about what we're hoping for and everybody at different seasons. So there were different people hoping for a purposeful career, different people who were hoping for a marriage, people hoping for children. So I said, have you ever felt and knowing that God told you this was going to happen? Or is this something that you just personally always desired? And some of them said, I never really thought of it. I don't know for sure if God told me or if it's just me. And some of them said, I don't think God told me. I think I just know this was always a desire for me. And so that's why we have to be so still to really be silent of God, what is it that you have for me? And we have to trust the timing. Because, with Abraham in the Bible, God would tell him something that's going to happen and it happened 25 years later. And sometimes we doubt that God told us because the timing is off from what we thought.
Yes.
And so you have to realize that when I'm having faith for something, it has to have faith for something that God said that was going to happen in my life. Because you know how much, you had me with the 3 men that I thought I was going to marry. I said I going to marry them.
That was your will. That was
my
yours.
will. So if I haven't faith to marry them, Kiki, and then I say, well, no, faith don't work. Not when it's your plan.
That's it. And that's the key, Kerel, because, we have to release ourselves from our will. And, everything. And that's why even with my personal life, I don't move, Kerel, and I don't do nothing unless God tell me to do it. I mean, this entire show, everything that I do, the Lord will have to say, go here, go there, do this, do that. And my team could tell you that straight up. Like, if God ain't tell me, you ain't got to worry, Kerel. Because let me tell you something. I take some whipping when I was doing my own thing. Trust me. I take some whipping, and obedience is better than sacrifice. And the only thing I said out of all of it, I was like, out of that whipping, I learned many lessons. I ain't going through that no more. So, I'm at a place where I'm still. If the Lord say go east, I go east. If he say go west, I go west. And like even with the season we in right now, I ain't missing nothing. Like I ain't missing nothing, Kerel. Life is still going. So many opportunities are still being presented in this still season. The Lord is teaching us to be still, to become independent beings, to trust him. Like, oh girl, even that tattoo on you, I was like, Kerel must see my twin. The last tattoo I placed on me was faith. Wow. And I didn't even realize that would be the ministry I would be walking in. I had no idea, because let me tell you something. I probably was drunk as a bat when I tattooed that on me, because I didn't like pain. So I would drink myself into a pulp. And every time I tattooed, it was because I was hurt. But for some reason, this particular tattoo, I don't remember being hurt. I remember just going and I was like, I want to put faith on me. I probably was tipsy too, but I said, I just want to put it. But it's something because I'm walking in it today.
And that's the thing too, what you were saying. You were saying like probably you were tipsy, and then me, I was saying my motives or my personal motives. But that's the thing about God's grace.
Yes.
Even when you do something, whether it's in the lifetime or the season when we were living in sin, or in a season where God was not telling us to do something, but we took it upon ourselves to do it.
Yes.
God says, you know, God works everything for our good. So even the mistakes you made, even the things that you did that were outside of his will, everything that you did, God and his sovereign, merciful, powerful being that he is, he will work it out for your good. Even though in that season you were doing this and this was the reason, I still gonna turn it around. I'm still gonna work it out. I'm gonna use that too. I'm gonna use everything that you went through, the mistakes, the things that you did wrong, all of that. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to allow it to be used for my good.
That's it. That's it, Kerel. That's it. Carry on, because we go and carry on.
Yes. So with this, so after I decided that I was gonna move on and do the book, and the book came out in 2016, I decided that I was going to go to LA. So I worked a job for 3 months. Actually, I think she's a good friend of you, because I a good friend of yours. I watched some of your videos, Devanya. So Devanya, I think Cindy.
Yes.
So she was going on maternity leave.
Okay.
God set everything up. Like I tell you, they stopped paying the checks in October. I say, okay, well, they stopped paying the checks. Now, what are you going to do? Around the same time they start paying the checks, the condo that I lived in is another story in terms of God's grace and how he worked all of that out. But basically, I lived in that condo, you know Nassau, and you know Nassau real estate. Yes. I lived in this condo, 2-bedroom, 2.5, washer and dryer, gated community, pool, out west, for $600 a month.
Girl, shut your mouth. No way, Kerel. Why are you putting people on blast like that? $600 a month?
$600 a month, and my neighbors was paying $2,000. $600 a month. Let me tell you about God. That's why I tell you, when you move in with God, that's why I say he don't bless your plans, he blesses his plans. So if you follow his plans, you're gonna be blessed. That's right. Follow his plans, you're gonna be blessed. So I was moving to Nassau to do Bahamar, and we found this condo that we liked. And there were different condos we were looking at. We went through this whole process of trying different condos, flying back and forth to Nassau. We finally found one on Cable Beach and said, this is the one. We signed the papers, sent it to the realtor. A couple hours later, the realtor said, you guys signed the wrong space. So I'm going to send another form. Sign the right space, because this is not going to be able to go through process because you signed the wrong space. So we were like, cool. Time he sent it back, I had a friend call me and said that there was one still out west, but not on Cable Beach, right there by the office of the Prime Minister, by that pink building.
Yes.
By Nautica, near Nautica, not in Nautica, but near Nautica.
Near Nautica, okay.
So she called and said, I have a cousin who was going to sell her condo. Do you want to look at it? So I say, hey, well, since the papers ain't really legal because we signed the wrong place, ain't no hurt in looking at it. So she sent the pictures. And that one we were moving in had 1.5 bath. This one had 2.5 bath. And this one had a washer and dryer. So I'm like, I don't have to go to the wash house, and I have an extra bathroom. And it was the same exact price. I said, we're going to go with it. So I know that realtor was hot because we done signed the papers.
Right.
I said, I'm sorry, sir, but we gonna have to go. So we went to the new condo, and in the new condo, they had some issues with the people that they bought it from.
Right.
And because they had these issues from the people that they bought it from, they said, we know you moved from Freeport just for this job. Move in while we sort all of that back end information out, and then we can get you sorted out. So I moved in. So about 3 months of living there, I have paid nothing. We've not paid a down payment. We've not paid anything. So I'm like, oh my gosh, something must be going wrong on their end. But I want them to know that I'm fine. So this is what I'm going to do. You got to use wisdom. I say she might be carrying bills. I don't want her to be carrying bills while she's making this decision. I want her to feel light. So I came down and I said, how much do you pay in condo fees? She said about $500. I said, and if I give you about $100 to cover the light and the water, we didn't have cable. I don't watch TV like that, so I didn't care. If I give you enough to cover the cable and the water because they were on, would that be enough? So she said, yeah, let's do that. So I would pay her religiously $600 a month. So while she was dealing with the lawyers and all that back end, that she would be fine. Yes. That happened for a year.
What?
A year. And so when the job, this is how God is strategic. When you operate, even when you do things that you're not supposed to do, he'll work it out for your good. So after the year, when they stopped sending the check, they came to me and said, we have been working on this for a year with the lawyer. It doesn't seem like this is going to come through. And so instead, we are going to hold the condo and just go back to renting it. We would like to give you first dibs on renting it. This after then, stop paying the check now, Kiki.
Right.
$1,800. I said, no, when do you need me to be out? When you need me to go? When I need to go. They say, okay, $1,600. No, this is not a negotiation. When you need me
when you need me to get on out of here, right? You still trying to bargain.
I gotta go. You say,
wow.
So I said, I will leave. I gotta go. I really gotta go. So I said, so I moved in. I moved in with someone who I went to high school with, and so my life changed from now having my own big condo to having a room. But God was still faithful. It wasn't that much that I paid. I think I must have paid $450. And people worried. They were like, "You want to have a roommate? And how's it going to be?" And it worked out fine. We had one bathroom, but it was fine. And in that season was the season, like I said, the check stopped, so I had to find a job. And it just so happened that God also worked it out. The Devanya, who I mentioned earlier, was going on maternity leave. And the same job I had at Bahama was the same job that she was doing. So they did. So it worked out good. So they didn't have to train anybody new because you were doing the same job at Bahama. So I took over for her at Malia while she was on maternity leave, and I was able to have some income coming in, and they were able to replace it with someone. And so about March of that year, I decided to go to LA. So that kept me until I went to LA. But that's how I lost the condo. But it wasn't even really felt like a loss because my parents were buying the condo. And so we would have still had that burden of paying condo fees and paying for the condo. I felt like I had to stay in Nassau even when God has moved. He had lifted the covering from being in Nassau by 2016. And so I felt chained to Nassau because we would have bought that condo. But God said, you're only going to be in Nassau for a year. I'm going to allow you to be in Nassau for a year. You live very comfortably and only pay $600 a month.
For $600. $600, like Kerel, you look here. $600 for a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, luxury. Hey y'all, jacuzzi tub. We gotta rub it in because that's how you was living. All right,
I was living
$600.
When they come say, "Oh, we're gonna go back and do the rent," well, I guess that means I gotta go. That's
time to go. Time to go.
The grace is lifted. The grace
is. That's it. That's it.
I gotta go. And so so I left during that time. And so after that, I went to LA for a few months, and then I was thinking like I'm gonna be in LA. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna live in LA. So I go to LA and I start to apply for my talent visa because I'm a writer. I think I had one play at that time and one book. So one play and one book, and I'm like, give me the talent visa. So they're like, you got one play, one book. I made it. I'm famous. Give me the talent.
You in Hollywood, baby.
Sign me up. So I was doing a class at the New York Film Academy, and I was like, sign me up. I'm ready. And what happened there is I paid like $3,000 towards the lawyer for the talent visa. And after 2 months after doing the program, my money was running short. The person I was living with a family friend. They're like, what you going to do? The class is over. Money's running short. I can figure it out. My parents are like, what are you going to do? Are you coming back home? Your money's because I won't work illegally over there.
Right.
And so I'm just spending money. And so I went to a brunch with some ladies, some young Black TV writers. And when we were at the restaurant, the guy came, you finished eating, the guy came to me and he said, your card was declined. I said, you gonna tell me that on the side?
Man, Kerel. He tells you that in front of everybody.
In front of them. I tried to play like.
That's okay, Kerel. You can say you was ashamed. That's okay, because I know.
Shame? You think he couldn't whisper it to me? I was being shamed.
Your card has declined, miss. Period.
Well, that's when I say I think it's time you go home. I think it's time to go home. It's time for you to leave.
Wow.
It's time for you to leave. It's time to go home. Your car has been declined. And so I think my parents even had to help me to get home. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to come home. I'm going to do another play. I'm going to make some money. And then I'm going back to LA. I'm going back to LA. And yeah, the Lord was like, because, at 29 is when I moved to Nassau in my own condo, living on my own, living in the laps of luxury, as we said. I went to LA. So LA was supposed to be like a step up from Nassau. So I'm seeing this as, I'm going from glory to glory. I went from Nassau, the city, and then I'm going to LA, and it's going to be great. And when I came home for the summer, it was coming home for the summer. It was not moving back in, living home with your parents. It's not that. It's coming home for the summer. But by the end of the summer, God told me, like, you're not going back to LA. This time I left things up there. I left suitcases. Everybody I told I was only going home for 2 months.
Wow.
They were messaging me, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? You said you were only going home for the summer. I left things up there, everything. And I done spent $3,000 with my lawyer trying to stay up there, getting that visa because I needed to be straight. So at the end of the summer, when God said, you're not going back, I said, but I would lose $3,000. I've already put $3,000 towards the lawyer fees.
Yep.
I have 3 more grand. I was 6,000 in total. I had 3 more grand to pay. God said, you want to lose 3 more? Okay.
That's right.
Look like
you
don't play. You look like when you speak, you be serious. So again.
He put it on you again.
I look like I need to listen because you look like you be serious when you speak. So I moved back in. I moved back home. And I think at that time, I was like 31. I think I was 31 at that time. And so I just kind of I got jobs. I got offers to come back to Bahama. I got offers from other big companies. I got different people that were coming to me. And I just kept hearing, no, don't take a job. Don't take a job. Don't take a job. And I was just like, why? Like, I don't know. And God was just like, don't take a job. And so about 2017, there came an opportunity with the U.S. Embassy to go away to do an entrepreneurship opportunity. And at that time, I didn't even consider myself an entrepreneur. The person who sent it to me to say apply to it, I was like, I don't even really consider myself an entrepreneur, but sure, I'll apply for it. And so when I went, that's when I learned the fundamentals of being an entrepreneur, that I could actually, go out there on my own and actually start a business. And when I came back, the government had a program going on, and they asked me to come and teach the program on marketing and branding. And at that time, I never studied marketing and branding. By this time, in this time between, I tell you, I was waiting for husband. And so all I'm doing is trying to be the independent woman who have all these nice careers and going to more school. So in that time, I also went back to school and got another master's. I like spend money and clearly go to school.
That's all you was doing, Kerel, just going to school. You just was going to school, and that's okay. You was going to school. You have to fill it.
So in that time, I was not going to school. I did that one online, but yeah. So by this time, I have 2 masters. Still not married. And I'm like, I'm just going to focus on the entrepreneurship, focus on what God is doing in that. And so when they asked me to do that training on branding and marketing, none of my degrees are in it. One's in psychology, one's in counseling, and one is in communication and leadership. But I think people saw it when I did the productions, that there was some marketing that was just natural, that was coming out. And so that was 2017 going into 2018. And so from then I started to build my company. And God has just been coming through when I say with the company, like living day to day. I never really, again, being an entrepreneur wasn't something I wanted to do. God just kept telling me not to go to a corporate job. Being single at 35 wasn't something that I wanted to do. But you talked about it earlier in terms of when you learn yourself and learn who God has called you to be, just anybody can't come no more.
Yeah,
like you recognize it really quickly when it's not it. It's like one conversation and it's like, that's not it.
It's not you.
It ain't you. And the thing about it is, one of the things that I wanted to tell people in terms of it ain't you. I was reading the scripture the other day with David when Samuel went to go and anoint David, and he thought it was the first son. And it was like, oh, clearly it is the first son. He's tall, he's strapped, it's the first son. No, it's not. And then he's like, oh, well, it's the second son. And it wasn't. And he went through all of the sons. And what God showed me in that instance is, as single women, especially when you reach the age of 35, especially when you're a Christian, see, yes, we're going to end up single because you're too picky, because no, it's the thing is, if I do end up single, that's a part of God's will. And that's
Yes.
it's not a lesser lifestyle. So I hate when people say, oh, you're going to end up single like it's a lesser lifestyle. It's not it's not a lesser lifestyle. It's just a different lifestyle. So if that's what God has planned for me, then I'm trying to be obedient. If you have a genuine concern, say to me, Kerel, remember to always trust God. If this is what you want, make sure you're being obedient. But don't say you being too picky, as in I just need to settle for anybody versus listening and waiting to God. The only thing you should tell me if you're concerned about me being married or you feel like I'm doing something is I'm praying for you and make sure I trust God and also lean into what God is saying. But don't say you're being too picky, because when I think about that scripture with Samuel, when he came to look at the sons of Jesse, and when he realized like none of y'all are it, that's what's going on for me in the physical realm, in the day-to-day that we're going on with today. That's what's going on when I meet someone that's not it. God's saying it's not it.
Yes.
And everyone can't figure out because it looks the part, it looks like that's the thing, and God is saying no. The thing about it is, if you're a kingdom woman and you're on today, and someone has told you you're being too picky, if you are diligently and know that I'm waiting on God, I'm not trying to fill no superficial list, but he got to be tall and he got to have no children and he got to, not a superficial list. But if you know you're waiting on when God is saying yes, then don't get overwhelmed about someone saying you're being picky or you just need to hurry up and settle, because you have to know that I'm hearing from God.
That's it.
I'm sure on your show you shared the story before, but you were sharing with me before we came on that you got married earlier, and it was
correct, a disaster. And let me tell you something. Talking about not even that marriage. Let me tell you about the single thing, like being picky. Like when I started dating my husband, there were 2 other men that I was talking to. Now watch this. Not just talking. It's nothing else. Talk. All right? And talk is fine. Well, one got ruled out right away, because when you married, you weren't supposed to be trying to entertain nobody else. So you get your backside from around here. Go home to your wife. Go home to your wife. All right? The other man, I honestly thought, Kerel, you could not tell me that this man was not going to be my husband. You know, we had the same financial status. We were in corporate. We both divorced. Both got daughters and children. Like, so this was like the perfect fit. The perfect fit. And, you know, my husband was just like the little man. Like, he was the little guy. Like, he was just the little guy. But you know what? I always said I never wanted to marry a police. I always thought police officers were the worst people in the world. I was like, I will never marry a man in uniform. Kerel, honest to God, this was my whole lineup. I was never going to marry a man in uniform. And my husband right there, little Joe Blow, versus this man got everything on this side, boats and jets and all these things. And I was like, okay, this man A, it's got to be the man. Because, like, he coming with everything, and he ain't coming to tear me down, because I was already in something being torn down. So I was like, you know, it got to be someone who can meet me in the middle. But you know what? My husband met me in the middle with one thing: time. That's all my husband gave me. He gave me time. That man didn't have no time. And I literally told that man, I was like, okay, I see why your first marriage probably didn't work. You don't have no time. And your money is not going to fill the void of time. Because relationships are built on time. Time. Vested, you know, and so you really can't be picky, and you need to be tall, dark skin, muscles, light skin. And can I tell you, I never thought my husband would have a bunch of muscles either. I ain't going in that part, but I never thought that my husband would be a muscle man. Like, Kerel, like I had this thing in my head. And then too, don't try to fit somebody else's bill for your life. Because, you know, a lot of people, Kerel, I see you with a man who look like this and look like that, because they're looking at you. They're sizing you up, so they're already sizing the husband up for you. And if you don't be careful, you'll be sitting right there trying to say, I got to find this man would look like what they talking about.
You ain't look, you come and you ain't look like what the people say I was going to end up with.
That's what I'm saying. You know, so that's some good stuff right there, what you just said. And so, you know, that's true. And we just don't know who God out for us. But we are being prepared for that man, because the man who God out for us, he's going to have everything we need. Trust me. Carry on, Kerel.
Yes. And so, like I said, for the last 2 years, I've been, you know, on this journey of being an entrepreneur and just trusting God with my singleness, and just knowing in my heart that God does have someone for me and he does have children for me. That wasn't something I was always able to say. because I doubted it and I feared that it may not happen. And, you're not wanting to speak something and then feeling like I'm embarrassed because I went ahead and said something and it doesn't look like it's happening. But God has given me that confirmation and knowing that that is something that I have planned for you. But one of the things that I want people to know that are listening and watching today is that you have to know that my goal in life is not a particular thing that I'm going after, whether it's in my life when I was chasing a job, in my life when I was chasing a certain status, in my life when I was chasing marriage. Our goal of being on earth is to be more like Christ and to bring others to him completely. And God uses the different things in our life to further purify and sanctify us. And if God chooses to use marriage to sanctify you, that's a part of your purpose. If he chooses to allow a child to help along with your sanctification, then that's a part of the purpose. But that's not God had to tell me, marriage is not your purpose. It's a part of your purpose.
Amen.
Children is not your purpose. It's a part of your purpose.
Amen.
And one of the things you said on your live that I thought was so amazing, one of the times when I was talking live, I talked about Hannah. And you addressed Hannah on one of the lives that I was watching with you, saying that if you do, and the live that I was talking about, saying if you have a desire, there's a reason God placed that desire in you. So don't doubt the desire and get frustrated because I had this desire forever and nothing has happened. God has placed that desire in you for a reason. And your job is to cling to God, talk to him and ask him, what is the purpose for the desire that you have placed in me? And what you were saying in there is that I think for me, God wanted to work on my heart. It was a heart posture. I had gotten very prideful and haughty in terms of the fact that, I've been celibate for the last 7 years. I work, in church in the ministry and I do this. And so that's why God is going to bring me a husband. No, sweetie, I don't care if you do X, Y, Z, you the perfect Christian on the cross walking down. You have not done any of those things yourself. I was watching Barry and she said, sis, your legs are not that strong.
Yes.
Your legs are not that strong. The reason you've been kept all of this time is because of God's grace. And God wanted to work on my heart. And he wanted me to, when I go out there and speak, let people know it's about getting closer to me and not getting a ring, not getting a job. And so when you said in your life that God was trying to pull faith out of you, and through your journey with infertility, God was pulling out faith in you to be able to help others with faith, that desire that we have, God is pulling something out of you. So sometimes we get frustrated of why God left me single for 7 years, because I was purifying you. I was pulling something out of you. The way that you speak now, the things that you study, how you cling to me earnestly, you wouldn't be able to do those kind of things if I didn't put you through this process. So just as a child is parented by their parent, God is saying that this is what I have to do for you. It's for your good. You think you could touch the hot stove? Do not touch the hot stove. I am transforming you into the person I've created you to be. So if you got to kick, if you got to scream, if you got to cry, come to me as your comforter, but know this is working out for your good. This is going in your best interest. And that is something that I've learned over the years in my season. My story's not over. We're still in the waiting season in terms of everything that God is going to bring forth in my life. But the waiting is no longer like, waiting on Jesus, I know when again. It's more of waiting with expectancy and enjoying my life along the way, because I don't want to miss out on all of the good things that he's bringing in my life right now, because he is. There's amazing things about this season. When I got quiet during COVID-19, you talked about it early, that even in this still time, God is still doing things in this time. When I got quiet, God told me I wanted you to go on a fast when COVID-19 happened, because there were some things that I wanted to release to you, and I needed to work on your heart posture. So the quiet time of fasting was to work on the heart posture. And as soon as I came out of that, I got the biggest account that our company ever got. My company is doing better in COVID than it's ever done in the last 2.5 years. Because of God. So I know God said, if you take your hand off things, the things and the faith, just how I did it before, how I did it with the condo, how I did it with the job, how I did it with all those things that I worked out for you, how I did it with the getting money to pay for the book, all those things, I was faithful to you. But when I tell you I'm going to do something to you, hold on to the faith and the promise that I'm going to put you through that. Hold on to that promise. But you have to know that the only way that you can have access to the life that I've chosen for you, not the life you want, not the one you want, the life that I chose for you, the only way you can get that is if you trust me and you wait on me. And I will be mine. I've done it before. I've done it before.
Wow. And Kerel, I noticed as well that you were able to meet two amazing people, Megan Good and her husband. Can I tell you, Kerel, On the morning of my wedding, no, the eve of my wedding, I met Megan Good. She was actually staying at the same hotel that I stayed that night. And can I tell you, she released a word to me. And she even sent a note up to my room. And she said, please, Acribba or Kiki, one of those, she called me. She said, have a beautiful day. May God forever reign in this marriage. And Devon was right there too. And it was like, we knew each other. Like, I don't know this woman. Like, this woman is a whole celebrity, man. Like, but she's hugging on me and she's loving on me and she's saying, God is faithful. And I would never forget that. And I didn't have no makeup on. I love to be glammed up. But that was the eve of the wedding. I had my hair tied, but I was like, oh my God, they are such an amazing couple, aren't they?
They are.
So personable, so friendly, and even their transparency about their relationship and waiting and what they really wanted and then what happened. How did it feel meeting them, Kerel, and even giving them your book? I see that you exchanged books. How was that experience?
Let me tell you, God is amazing. So when I took the year off, I went to my sister during that summer because this is the first, and learning to be alone because that was something the relationship I was in for 4.5 years. First, you don't know how to be by yourself. Why? I got you. I ain't got to be by myself. Just me and you, bro. Where you going? Right. Where you going? So I was learning how to be by myself. So that was the first time I actually did a vision board in 2013. Wow. So I wrote Sarah's wedding during that same summer, and it was the first time I did a vision board. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and we went to one of our conferences, and one of the sessions I went to, that was the first time I heard someone talk about vision boards. And so we had to get a partner, and we had to do one by the end of the summer. And that summer is when I found out about Devon Franklin and Megan Good. I knew Megan Good from the movies, but that's when I found out about Devon Franklin. So I put them on my vision board as inspiration of one day a couple I would like to meet, also just wanting to follow in their footsteps of a kingdom relationship. And so that was on my vision board in 2013. I wrote the play. I think I bought his book. I watched all of their videos because I think I found them in the magazine because at that time, that's when you could look through the magazines, put things. So I found an article. Oh, Megan Good married. I didn't know she was married. I read that. Then I started to Google, gone down the rabbit hole of finding out all this information. Bought the book, put it on the vision board. A year later, we did our play, Sarah's Wedding, the first play I ever did. And like I said, how I started on the entrepreneurial journey, people saw the marketing and branding I did for the play and asked me to teach. That was in 2017. Well, in 2014, the year after the year challenge, remember I said that was a really good year. Right. Somebody I went to high school with, and even before the person I went to high school with, I wrote the play and everybody was like, this play is so good. Like, this could be a movie. People still tell me to this day, they're like, Sarah's Wedding could be a movie. This could be a movie. And so they were like, so one of my coworkers was like, you should message him on Instagram. So I used to message every day under the comments like, hey, would love to meet you. Hey, did I just saying, hey, to see if he respond.
Yes.
Nothing. No reply.
Wow.
No comment under. So after a while, I was just like, forget it. I think I did it for like a week and I was like, all right. And then like a month later, I had a classmate who I went to high school with call me and said, she's a 7-day Adventist. I'm not a 7-day Adventist at all. We're Christian. I grew up in a Baptist church. My dad's a pastor. We're Baptist. And she called me and she said, we're bringing down a couple for our youth conference in October. And this was like June or July. And they were like, we want you to work with the committee. It's not a paid job, but it's for the church. And they saw all the marketing you did with your play and they felt that you could help us market this. So I'm like, okay, it was the couple. She was like, Devon Franklin and Megan Good. I said, I'm there. I'm there. What do you need me to do? I'm on the committee. I used to be at that meeting weekly, Kiki. They didn't pay me a dime. I was at that meeting every week eating my cheese and crackers.
Yes.
They said, we can only pay you in snacks. I will eat the snacks. I say, I have 2 requests. I say, when they come and they have to go on stage to be interviewed, I am going to be the interviewer.
Yes.
I said, and I'm going to talk to them about my play, and I want everybody to look the other way when I talk about my play. Okay? 2 requests. 2. So from July to October, we'll call me the second day, 7 day, because I was at the house. Wherever meeting was, I was at the meeting, making sure that we have everything set to go. When they came, it wasn't like I'm at an event and they just there. We are the committee working with them. I've been working with this committee the whole time. So we are walking them to the sessions, walking them from the sessions, hanging out with them after. She's so chill. She took her shoes off and went walking in Port Lakaya and Freeport to go to Pisces for dinner. Very chill.
Wow.
Very chill. So we got to know them like on a basis in terms of where he started to follow me back on Instagram, and just had that rapport of knowing them. And so I told him about the script, and you know, it ain't nothing happened. It was just like, okay, well, email it to me. So I was like, okay. So that was 2014. But we kept in contact, and then in remember I told you I went to LA. So while I was in LA, I saw that they were doing a private book party. So it was only like 50 people, and I think the ticket VIP was like 150 or 200 or something like that. And I was like, I don't know if I want to, I know what word it, but I don't know if I want to pay it. And I just kept going back and forth. And then I was just like, it was at Arnold Schwarzenegger ex-wife, Maria Shriver. It was at her like condo thing. So it was a very small, intimate thing at her condo. And so I was like, you know what? You live in LA, you're already here, just pay the 150. So when I went on the website to pay the 150, they said sold out.
Oh Lord.
That's sick. So I sent him a message that morning, and I had been messaging him from my reach to LA, and there was no response, even though we both follow each other on social media. Right. But I think this time, instead of going in the inbox, I think I wrote it under a photo saying, all the best at the event tonight. I tried to buy a ticket, but it wouldn't go through. So he DM'd me back the day of the event. I just came from class like 4:00, and I got a DM. It didn't go through. Don't worry about the ticket. You can come for free as our special guest. See you at 7. Well, Kiki, I throw my class. I get in my car. I said,
oh my God.
The person I live with, they always like, you always going out who you know. I said, I go on.
Wow, Kerel. Wow.
I speed down the highway. I had to pay a dime.
Wow.
I did not pay a dime. I did not pay a dime.
And these people are on your vision board, correct?
On my vision board a year before.
Yes, that's it. Manifestation. That's it.
A year before.
That's it.
A year before. They were just on my board. I told her I used to be messaging on Instagram. Nothing. Then this girl I went to high school with. Oh, could you help? I'm not even 7 day. I don't even think before that I ever visited a 7-day church.
Wow, man.
And I went to the event, and like I said, it was intimate. And child, like I said, we got that little marketing brain. So I didn't care them books. I didn't have them book in the car. So they were signing the books. So I say, I go hold y'all book. Y'all hold mine. Y'all hold mine.
That is amazing.
I don't know if they read it. Yeah. It was God. It was all God. It was all God. I think I saw them 3 times when I was in LA. I used to go to one LA with Sarah Jakes and Torre.
Yeah.
Sarah Jakes. So I used to go to that church. And so what a name. They what happened when I was there? I used to go to that church, and they had some movie night for Miracles of Heaven, Devon movie. And so I happened to reach the movie the same time as Devon and Megan, and we were talking on the escalator going down to watch the movie. And so we connected then. And then I wanted to talk to him about my movie. He did take the meeting, but he was like, yeah, you need to take some time to work on your script. But he took the meeting. So I was on Warner Brothers. But the thing about it is being in the room. And I was listening to a Sarah Jakes sermon the other day about full circle and saying that sometimes you get in a spot and sometimes you're a higher version of yourself. So I know that sometimes God just shows us different, just because I keep running across certain people. Like God didn't put me in that room for a random reason. There's preparation. There's something I had to learn. It might have not been quite the time for what he was about to do, but he was preparing me. I saw my sister online. She said that always happens to me. You had asked me about a video, because that was something else that happened when I was in LA. You said you saw me on a video. Is that when you saw me on the reel?
Yeah, I saw it was something happened to you, Kerel, last year or year before. I saw this post about you. Whenever it happened, I know that you were supposed to come on Faith Talk. And I saw you going up on the stage talking. And I was like, what is going on here? Either you were on the stage or you were running downstairs, but you had posted it on your
Instagram
feed, your stories.
Maybe that was when I was on the reel. If it was I don't know if it was 2018, but I was on the reel.
Something happened. Some amazing things was happening to you, period, Kerel. But something happened, and I was like, what's she doing up there? Like, what is going on here? Like,
when
I followed the entire story. They asked you a question. You came from the back. Whose show was that?
Was that came from the back. That was last year. That was 2019. That was Steve Harvey.
Yes.
When they said, Kerel. Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, hey, look at this. Look at this.
So my sister's on now because I saw she had a comment. My sister, they call me Kramer. I didn't watch Seinfeld, so I don't know what that means, but apparently good things always just randomly happen to him, but it ain't random. It's God. It's God. I don't know. But my sister calls me Kramer. So there's two instances. So I'll tell about the real and then I'll talk about Steve Harvey. Yes. So in 2016, during that same Devon Franklin them episode when I was living in LA, the real, I went to the real on my birthday, on my actual birthday. And I went with a classmate, because I can tell you I was in there doing school with the New York Film Academy. And I went with a classmate to the real. And I thought they asked who wants to sit on the front row. And I like to be seen. Clearly, as you can see, Giga, I'm just always.
All right.
So I was like, who want to be on the front row?
You being honest?
Who want to be on the front row? I said, let's go. Let's go. I will be in the front row. So we go. So I go to be on the front row. And when I went to be on they didn't say who wanted to be on the front row. They said, come this way if you want to be on the show.
Right.
And so the guy, it was a guy from my class, and he was just like, oh, well, I don't want to be on the show. Like, so, but he still stayed in the audience. So they said, we need you to act extra hyper because we need excitement. Whoever we pick to be on the show has to be full of a lot of energy. Well,
right.
That's my name, energy.
Well, they asked the queen of excitement.
You need me to act like I excited? Right. Small things. I ready. So I start jumping up, and they pick one other girl. So then he said, ready? Scream again. So you just have to scream and jump up like you're an excited person. So the guy who was with me, I'm already jumping up and excited already, but he pushes me. And so it causes me to kind of jolt like this. And so the mom was like, okay, you're the next one. So we had 5 finalists. And then when you're a finalist, I think you had to say 3 things about yourself that kind of counted for everybody else. You had to say where you were from.
Right.
You had to say why you thought you should win these new pair of shoes. And you had to say who was your favorite. So when they said, where are you from? I think on the first answer, I won because I said Bahamas. And so therefore, the rest of y'all from Miami, LA, Atlanta, that's not exciting. They want to say, TV, they have someone in this audience from the Bahamas. So the minute I said Bahamas, I think that was a shoe-in. I said, it's my actual birthday today, so that's why I would love to win the shoes. And I said, Tamara is my favorite because Tamara has family from the Bahamas. And so we went through several rounds of meeting different producers, but that was always my same story. And it outweighed anybody else who was going to be able. And so they came back and said, the producers chose Kerel. She's going to be the one who's on the show. So you go into hair and makeup, they mic you. It's all TV, all smoke and mirrors. And then you go in, you go on in the audience, and then you have to pretend when they call your name, like they just randomly called your name out of blue. The person who's going to play the game is Kerel.
Kerel. They don't know you are an actress. They did not know that.
Let me go play this game. What? Yes, that's it.
That's you.
That's me talking to Tamar. And I know they told me to be giddy, but I was so embarrassed when I watched that tape later because I like high-fiving Tamar like 20 million times. Every minute I go like this to Tamar.
Oh my God.
I said, look like you're trying to knock Tamar out. It was crazy.
But Kerel, like anyone ever told you, like you look like you belong there?
Thank you.
You look like you belong. Like you don't look out of place, period. Now, what I need to do is I need to find this show. I need to watch this.
Yes, I can send it to you.
Please, I need to see this because I need to see how you represented the Bahamas. Like but you look like you belong there. You actually look. Did they give you the clothing as well, or you just?
No, that was me, girl. It was my birthday.
It's your birthday.
My birthday, girl. Yes. So that's how I go. And I won Jimmy shoes. I won some Coach shoes. I won several shoes that night. Yes. It was one of the best birthdays ever. It was
Kerel. Yeah. But hold on now. Did you put anything like this on your vision board?
No, I didn't have anything like this on. I think I had TV and stuff because I'm a writer, but I don't think I had like Be on the Reel. I had like 2 of those on it. But again, it was more so like thinking like,
because I've been doing dream boards a little while, like 3 years now with Keishel, and we boast about my dream board parties for some strange reason because Keishel is a dreamer and I'm a faith walker, and I believe together that makes a big deal. But I just got a revelation about something. Like, God is so awesome. Like, He still allows us to say or voice what we want or our desires. And we do it in a form of a vision board because in Habakkuk 2:2, he says, write the vision and make it plain. And you know what just came to me? That's why I asked you that. Because even though we may place a photo on that vision board, God exceeds our expectations. So you may put you standing behind a mic, but He may put you on a world stage. I'm just saying, like,
He does.
Like he, oh my God, like I never thought about it like that, but it just came to me just now.
He does. And I've been doing vision boards since 2013. I've had several, and a lot of things on that first one came to pass. Like I went to Greece, I went to South Africa. I had a lot of different places on. So the first vision board, there's a lot. The faith, this was on there. The faith tattoo, the South Africa, Greece, meeting Devon Franklin and Megan Good, becoming an entrepreneur, writing a play, finishing my master's degree, becoming a small business owner. All of that was on the vision board. So I've done vision boards, and I had a godchild who did it with me last year, and she was saying her mom didn't know about it because she didn't know if it was like you were trying to manifest something, and so like manifest something on your own. And so what I was telling her is before we do our vision board, we pray about it. And we ask God for guidance of what I'm putting on that board. So anything that I put on that board are just visions that I feel like God has downloaded in my spirit. Not things I'm trying to make happen. Y'all already know how I go with trying to make things happen. I don't be trying to make no more. And so that's why I do vision boards. That's why I feel that they are so powerful, because I feel it's just another version. Sometimes people write their dreams down in their journal. Sometimes people send an email, but sometimes people visually see it and they put it on the board. So for me, when I pray before I do my vision board, and I only put down there what I feel that God has directed me, and all of those things tend to come to fruition. But yeah, so that was the reel. That's how I got on the reel. And last year was Steve Harvey. And so I think I just have that kind of mind, like, well, it gotta be somebody, so why it ain't me? What?
Yes.
You see somebody.
Yes.
So I'm always going to put myself out there. I'm going to give you those eyes like, it's me. It's me. Why not? Why not? It's me. Why not me? And so when we went to Steve Harvey, they said they wanted someone to pretend as if they were the host of the show, because they wanted the audience to practice how to react, and Steve wasn't ready to come on board. And so when he says, who wants to be the person, I shoot my hand up. And now everybody else shoot their hand up, but I am like shooting my hand up, looking you square in the eye, and I just feel like if God wanted it for me, if He wanted me to have that vision, be in the room, do that particular thing, He just showed me, and He said, you with the blonde hair, come. And it was so crazy because the woman behind, they said I couldn't have my phone in there. So I'm like, how am I going to take this? So the woman behind me said, I don't know this woman from a can of paint, but it was another Black woman who was behind me who said, I will record it for you. And I said, oh, thank you, Jesus. So I ran down there, and they said, what's your name? And I go behind and I say, Kerel. And they say, okay, we're going to say that this is the host of the show. So I go behind there, and he's showing me Steve Harvey in the back of there. And it's and the thing about it is, it's the same place. It's the same WB Studios that I was for the reel in 2016. 2019, I came there again. That's why I say that full circle sermon by Sarah Jakes is so powerful, because one time that's on the show, the next time they were doing as if I was the host of the show. The next time God will do something like it. I don't feel like He's done with me yet, and He just kind of shows us things in advance until He brings them forth into our life, like she said with the full circle. So we said, let's welcome the host of the show, Kerel Pinder. And so it's like speaking things into the atmosphere of this is the visions I see for you. So I run up the back, and people are cheering. And so that's what you see me running from the Steve Harvey show with people cheering for me. So I go to the lady, and she was like, she's going to send it to me. So she said she sent it to me, but it's not coming through on my phone. So I'm like, I'm sorry to be like this, but if this internet because she was like, when you get in Wi-Fi, maybe it'll come up. I said, miss, I don't know you like that, but I really want to try that. I can need you to give me a number. So she gave me a number, and sure enough, I got in Wi-Fi and it didn't come through. But I was able to message her and say, it didn't come through. Once we get in Wi-Fi, could you please send me the video? And then she did. But yeah, those things are always opportunities like that. Like I say, my sister always call me Kramer.
Kramer, like the things just happen. Like good things just happen.
You gotta live your life.
I know who they talking about, but I'm not too much of a TV person either, Kerel. Like I don't watch TV. I don't watch TV. I mean, right. I'm not a fan of the television, period. But anyway, Christoph, you can check now. I have it there. But I just want to put this out there at one time because I'm going to play this back. But I can interview Mary J. Blige.
There you go. You can, yeah.
No, I can interview her. I'm going to interview Mary J. Blige. I'm going to interview Erica Campbell. I was in the room with Erica Campbell at the Woman Thou Art Loose conference. And the only reason why I did not get to take a photo with her or see her because it was snowing, like it was really rainy and snowy, and it was moist, and I couldn't take it. I could not afford to get, sick. And then Dr. Cindy Trim, I'm going to meet that woman. That woman is going to coach me. That lady, I was like sitting 2 to 3 seats behind her at a conference where she spoke, and she was like, nobody leave. I'm going to take a photo with each of you before you leave. So when the Lord elevates you, I can say, I know you. Oh my God. You believe I had to go? Kerel, I felt so defeated. I was defeated. I was like, why? Like what? And my husband had to say to me, because I just had the baby, he was like, babes, listen, it was not your time yet. When it's your time, it's going to be personal. And I was like, I received that in Jesus' name because I really was ready for that. But I want to show the audience the manifestation and the full circle of Kerel's entertainment life on Steve Harvey. So I want Christoph to put it up on the screen so people can see what faith is all about. Oh my God, Kramer.
Yes.
Single day, okay? Not every single day, okay? Not very many people get to see this, but people who work here. So come on, like one more time. What's your name? Kerel. All right, Kerel. This is the mirror that Steve stands for in front of every day, getting ready for the show. Behind you is our producing team. Over there is the young lady who mics him up, and that is his pre-show cigar. Now, I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to say, give it up for the host of the show, Kerel. And you come around that corner and give it to the people. All right, now, folks, when Kerel comes around this corner, you jump your feet, and you go nuts. Here we go, folks. Give it up for the host of the show, Kerel!
Kerel. Give it up for the host of the show.
Yes.
Kerel, you were born for this. Like, you were born for this. Like, everything about this whole thing, I mean, you were born for this. Like, literally, you were born for this, Kerel. Like, oh my God. Like, I don't even know, like, you're just a faith walker. Like, you are a faith walker. And I think that's what God really wanted to pull out of you for real. Like, he just wanted you to trust him. Like, he didn't say no to the things that you wanted, He never said no. But he just wanted you to trust him because he wanted to give you so much more. Like, so much more, Kerel. And I know, like, so much more. Look here. When you go to Hollywood or wherever you going, shout me out. You shout me out.
It was on TikTok, right?
Don't shout me out. Hashtag, like, don't do me like that, Kerel. Don't do me like that. All right? You got don't do me like that. I mean, because this is amazing, and I'm enjoying the journey of, like I say, sitting on the couch and talking with people like yourself, because all of this demonstrates to the audience the power of faith. And why God says to trust him and that we walk by faith and not by sight. Because even when we look at things and it looks impossible, he is the God of the impossible. Like, what's impossible to man? Like, he could get it done. You know what I mean? And so we really just got to put our faith and our trust in God. Like, it is so amazing. And so, Kerel, like, now you are still single.
Yep.
And you're still, and that's okay. That's okay. You're still single, and you seem like you're at peace with it. You seem very comfortable. You know, moving back home with your parents. I know. Look here. I had to go back home to my parents. I was out of my parents' house from 19, and when I had to go back, like that was hard because I realized now that I had to govern under what they was dealing with. You know what I mean? And even something you said in the podcast. Your parents were in church. My parents was in church as well in ministry. But I was just going for going. Like I knew God. Now I wasn't walking in God. Like I was just doing things to get by. I danced in the ministry. I sang in the choir and I can't sing. You know, I was just doing it because your parents tell you to do it, you know, but I wasn't walking in it. And I said on one session with my past guest from Detroit, I was telling Tiffany that I stopped after I realized that this lady fell out and I didn't understand what was going on. And when my dad told me, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I ain't doing this no more. No, you're not dancing anymore. You're not doing anything. This lady fell out. And like, I didn't have no understanding, Kerel. I was young and I didn't know, but all I knew was it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right that when I left from church, I was still going to go up with my friends and be doing whatever I felt like doing. And I don't know what this lady was being delivered by. You know, I didn't understand it then. But I was like, I'm not going back. Because I had this thing in my head that you can fall down and drop down dead. I don't know if you ever heard that before. Like,
don't play with God. Don't play with God.
Right. Like, don't play with God. And so every Sunday, Kerel, I used to go up to the altar call when they say, like, you want to give your life to Christ right now? Every Sunday I was on the line. I give my life to Jesus more than what? Kerel, I really, look here, every Sunday. And by Monday, I was doing my own thing. So when Sunday come again, please, if you're led of the Lord, come up now. You don't know what the day holds. You don't know, it is no tomorrow. And so I up there and I weeping and I wailing, Kerel. But you know, I thank God, you know, because where I'm at now, I realized it was a process, it was a journey. I am walking in God now. I can truly say that with confidence that I am walking in God now. You know, I didn't before, but I'll never leave this. I love this right here. And I know that you're enjoying it, Kerel.
I am.
All I can say to you is now, ask the Lord to give you the wisdom to know when the man come now. Because see, you just get so confident. Like the man will come and you'll be like, no, sweetie child. I good. You know how long I was telling my now husband I good? Like for a long time. Like I give him a long time. I was like, I good. He was like, you happy single? Hell yeah. And I ain't giving it up for nobody. To the point that when we went to counseling, I told the pastor, I said, look, I will marry this man. If this is what God has for me, I will do it. I said, but if he disturbed my peace, you ain't got to worry about that. I worked too hard for this. Like, I was good. You know what I mean? I was good. But like I say, when you wait on God and the will of God, man, that man is going to meet your every need, your mind. And you know, where you are weak, he will be your strength. And it is so, you know, my marriage, like I tell people every day, it feels as if we just met. Everything is sometimes I still cry. I was like, God, this is a fairy tale. Like, this man is still kissing me on my forehead. And he's still pulling out my chair and opening the car door. Is this real? It is real. And so that thing with good men in out there and all that, that's just you cannot, for Christ's sake, you know. A lot of broken women say that. I've been there before as well. You know, you would say everybody, men are dogs. You know, all are the same. There's no good man. But there are good men out there, Kerel. There are good men. Before you close off, I want you to talk about your experience of walking around that wall of Jericho and give these women that are on this live tonight some motivation and inspiration about your journey about walking around that wall of Jericho.
The wall of Jericho. So what I was saying about the wall of Jericho on the podcast episode was that at first I thought that I was in the wilderness. After I came off the year challenge, I was like, ready for the promised land, Jesus, where is it? And I felt like, okay, no, I'm still in the wilderness. And I say often to people, don't die in the wilderness. And what I mean when I say don't die in the wilderness, if God has given you a vision or a promise for your life, don't doubt the promise just because it's taking longer than you thought. Don't doubt the promise just because the journey seems harder than you thought. And don't doubt the promise just because God is trying to do a sanctification process through you right now. Don't doubt the promise. If God has given you a promise, hold on to that promise. And what God revealed to me is you're not in the wilderness and I don't want you. And that's what the Israelites did. They doubted that God had this promised land for them, or that they would be able to dwell in the promised land and be able to fight the giants that the other 10 spies said that they saw. And God told me that you're not in the wilderness, you're now walking around the walls of Jericho. Those last 7 years, I've been single for a little over 7 years, 7.5 years at this point. And they said after the 7 years of walking around those walls of Jericho, they began to shout. And Torrin Wells on one of his songs said that the walls fell in a way that allowed them to walk over the walls into the promised land. And so he was saying the thing that has been designed to keep you out is the very thing that is going to lead you into the promises of God. Yes. And so what God was revealing to me is that I needed you to be in these 7 years of the pruning, of enjoying singleness, of enjoying my presence, of knowing that it's not about transaction. It's about an unconditional love with me. It's about having that fellowship with me. It's about being more like me and drawing others to me. And that's how you will be able to be identified by the person that I want you to continue to carry out life with and purpose. You guys can't be purposeful together if you don't understand the purpose that I created you for solely. You don't know how to be a helpmate to him if you don't know who you're designed to be and how you're going to help. I needed to purify you. I needed to be the refiner in you. I needed you to move out some of those impurities, not because I will be perfect when I go into marriage. None of us are perfect. We will never be perfect. We'll always be on a life of progression. So it's not about being perfect for marriage or, oh, you're now ready for marriage. It's about you're ready for the next season that I want to take you in. And God has different seasons for us and different blessings for us. And he's just, everyone is different. So I think I used to get in that comparison of, oh, well, this person only been single for a year, or this person only been single for 3 years. Why I got to wait for 7.5 years? But God's like, you don't know what I have planned for you. There's different things that I have purpose for you. And so you can't be upset about a certain thing in your life that, oh, I didn't want to be in Freeport right now. But I went through an experience last year where we lost a family member, or my brother passed away. So if you didn't have that time when you were in Freeport, if you weren't living with your parents, like, you have to know that God is all knowing. His thoughts are not our thoughts, and we can't see everything that's about to happen. And because we can't see everything that's about to happen, we have to be able to trust him. And that's why God said there's the heart posture that I needed to fix. The relationship with God is the foundation of every relationship we enter to. And so God said, until you get this relationship right with me and know how to love me unconditionally, learn how to be patient with me, to trust me wholeheartedly, you won't know how to love the husband that I'm going to give you in the way that I need you to love him, so that you guys can be purposeful together. So these 7.5 years were necessary. And God is saying now, like I said, I've never felt confident before this year to prophesy that God does have marriage for me, to prophesy that God has children for me. But God said, you're now in the season that the Israelites were in when it was time to shout for the walls to fall down. And the enemy is going to try to discourage you, but this is my season of shouting. And so I know that God has marriage for me. I know that God has children for me. I know that God blessed me with it, and I am speaking it, and I believe in faith that God is going to bring it to pass. Not because it's something that I am trying to manifest on my own, but it is something that he's put in my spirit that he has for me. But I am going to continue to trust him, trust his timing, not to get anxious about his timing, and to be able to be discerning when he does bring the person, so that my eyes are open with spiritual eyes. I'm speaking with spiritual eyes and not physical eyes. So I asked if you're on the call and you were here with me. Thank you so much. I was just going to ask that to come into agreement with me as I continue to pray. Acribba and anyone that's on, and for the things that God wants to do in your life, because I think that's, like I said at the beginning, that's what faith is. When we have faith in God, I have faith that God is good. Just a last thing, last year, when I was saying, I talked about when God says no, there's a song that says, when my brother was sick and we were praying and fasting, there's a song that says, give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. Give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. And we have to trust that God is good, because we didn't get the outcome that we were praying for, but we did get an outcome that we were praying for my brother to have a true relationship with God and accept God as his savior. So he's living in eternity with the Father. And so we have faith that God is good, and we trust that God is good. The things that he has planned for his life, all of those blessings I talked about on the show today, those things that he has planned for us, they will come forth in our life, but we have to trust him and trust his timing.
Yes, Kerel. So guess what, everybody? If you're on the live, we are about to shout with Kerel right now. On the count of 3, we got to shout, because she's walked around, and on the 7th time, she's going to shout. And so we got to shout with Kerel. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. And I like that you are prophesying over yourself, because that is what God gave us the authority to do. To prophesy, to command, to decree and declare. And so that's your God-given right. So
speak to those dry bones. I'm speaking to those dry bones. Thanks for shouting me, Cherie.
That's right.
Is she right?
So, okay, he told Ezekiel to do that. So why can't we? Oh, okay then. So Kerel, we only is gonna be waiting.
We waited.
We're confidently and we're peacefully waiting on God. I give God thanks for you this evening, Kerel. Even to your parents, your wonderful parents. I see your sister is here.
Yes.
She's here with you on this evening. I think your parents did an amazing job. I even saw a little snippet of you and your mom on Instagram where you cried, and I was like, look at the emotional Kerel. I was like, oh, it's so sweet. And she was like, God got you, baby. God got you.
Yes,
I love that.
great.
I
My mom, because of the relationship, my mom is like my best friend. And because of the relationship we have, that's how I'm able to have the foundation in Christ. Because anytime I do because we all have faults and we're all on a progression to be more like Christ. Kerel, get it together. Kerel, you need Kerel, trust Jesus. Kerel. So it's because of the foundation, because of her prayers, because of her continuously pouring into me. And that's why I had to be here. I don't think I would even have the maturity. I sometimes complain about, I'm 35 and living at home. But the maturity that I have been able to grow in Christ is because of the relationship that I have with my mom. And so that is even a testament in itself.
Wow. And I give God thanks, Kerel. Thank you. I love you, Kerel.
Love you.
My little sister, I call her my sister because we basically adopted her. She lives in Freeport. And I remember she said, please tell Kerel that I'm your sister. Her name is Nakia Gibson. And she said to me, she said, Acribba, every time I see Kerel, she reminds me of you. Like everything. Like you get it, you can't get it no real. Like, that's Kerel, like a bubbly spirit. And she said, please do let her know that you're my big sister. I said, I will. I definitely will. She's a beautiful girl. Girl. But I love you so much, Kerel. Thank you so much for Grace and Faith Life. Be sure to come back and watch this now. You got to watch this.
Yeah, I told you I watched several episodes.
Oh, wow.
I did.
This is something, and make sure share the link so that your audience could really get the royal access into your life. And if you're watching tonight and not sure, definitely in the content box, I'm going to put all of Kerel's social handles. And I think that you should subscribe to her podcast and her YouTube channel to follow this journey. We're going to follow Kerel straight on to the white dress. We're going to follow Kerel straight on to the white dress, straight on to the stages of Hollywood or plays and to that movie. We are going to follow Kerel straight through, and we're going to pray her through on this journey. Once again, God bless you, Kerel. Thank you so much. Everyone, please join me next week for another Faith Life session. I'm going to have an interesting guest coming on. I'm not going to disclose who it is. Very interesting guest. And sometimes even in the midst of adversity and trials, God is still in it, and God will make you to be successful and to overcome those things that the devil sent to kill you. And so please, you want to be into that session on next week to hear this amazing testimony. So God bless you all. Have a beautiful weekend. I love you. I love you, Kerel.
Love you too. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye.
It's fine. Christoph, it's fine.